Hello viewers, and welcome to another episode of Project Zomboid. Overnight, winter has hit, and we have our base covered in snow. Now, I knew that winter was coming, and I have thus prepared by gathering food, gathering water, getting everything I need to survive the cold. So we've got quite a bit of supplies here with us. We have some preserved food. We have a lot of potatoes, we have some tomatoes that grew overnight, we have some peanuts. I've grown lots of peanuts as they don't expire, they're non-perishable. And finally we have a very large supply of MREs in our main base, which will be over to our left here. Today I'm here with my new built kiln, and we're going to be doing a little tutorial on pottery. So, to make a kiln, you need 50 units of clay. Clay is found in bags inside warehouses and inside metal shelving in any warehouse or storage area. Each bag of clay has 20 units, and you need 50 units of clay in order to build this kiln. In order to build the kiln, you also need to have read the Pottery book, and the Pottery book can be found in any housing area or any store. Easy enough to find, where you find books basically. So when you have your 50 clay, you right click on the clay, having read the Pottery book, and you'll have the option to build a kiln, which is the kiln that we see here. When the kiln is built, you need to make some charcoal. You can see this bag of charcoal here. Now, charcoal is easily built by getting 50 units of ripped sheets. Now, ripped sheets are the easiest way to make charcoal, because any zombie who has died, you can basically tear up their clothes to get a dozen ripped sheets or so per zombie. The other thing you can use to make charcoal is 3 planks, a dozen sturdy sticks, or you can also, I believe you can use twigs and other items. To be honest, I've only ever used ripped sheets because it's the most plentiful resource in the game. Any dead zombie can produce dozens of sheets, and indeed we made this charcoal here by gathering sheets off a dead zombie. So we're going to do that now. Unfortunately, I am quite weighed down, so I'm going to just pack this. There we go. Make us a bit more mobile. So having built the kiln, the first thing you would do is find yourself some dead zombies. And if you've been watching my series, you can see I have no shortage of dead zombies. I've been very busy killing zombies, preparing myself for winter, getting supplies, and basically making myself ready to survive the cold. At the moment it is very cold and very unpleasant. Winter is pretty hard to survive if you haven't prepared yourself properly, because you don't have a farm to rely on. You are slower, you are basically can be killed very easily, because the slowness of your character is worsened by whatever clothes that you're wearing. So I'm actually wearing a raincoat. I'm not going to take it off because it's raining, and I'll obviously get very sick if I did. We have a nice big collection of dead zombies here. We're going to take some clothes off some of them. You can see we have a pack here, so we're not going to be killing zombies today. We're just going to steal some clothes. Right click on any zombie. Right click on the clothing item of any zombie, such as a sweater or a pair of pants, and you'll have the option to rip sheets. We're going to rip all these sheets. You get 8 ripped sheets per item of clothing. We need 48. So you can see I get 16 per zombie. So you only need to kill 4 or 5 zombies in order to get enough sheets for a bag of charcoal. Very easy to do. A couple more and we'll have enough. Beautiful. We now have enough. I'm also going to grab these shoes. Shoes make excellent kindling, and we're going to use those for our fire. There we go. So the reason why I use sheets again, zombies are everywhere, very easy to kill and take ripped sheets. They're the most plentiful resource in the game, being as zombies are everywhere and you will need to kill lots of them in order to survive. I have hundreds of dead zombies on the ground here. In fact, since the start of my Let's Play series, I've killed 2,310 zombies. Not my high record, but pretty close. I believe my record was 3,200. That was before I decided to play Let's Plays and before I started on YouTube, unfortunately. Hopefully by this series I want to try and survive a year. That's my end goal. But anyway, back to the tutorial. Our character's unfortunately tired because he's carrying too much stuff. We take our ripped sheets back to our kiln with a ignition source in our hand, such as the lighter. We right click and we will have the option to make charcoal. There we go. Bang. We've now made 1 bag of charcoal. So, the next thing we want to do is basically make some stuff using our kiln. So, before you start using the kiln, you need to have a few things and be aware of the dangers of using a kiln. You can burn yourself using a kiln, and you can also start a fire. When I use the kiln, I always have a bucket of water on me. I've never set anything on fire yet. I have hurt myself, but I always make sure to have a bucket of water. So we've got charcoal, we've got our bucket of water in case anything goes wrong, and we go on fire. We have a lighter, and we have some clay. So what we're going to be building today is some flower pots, and the flower pots will allow us to grow some different crops, and these crops I will show you in our next tutorial, which will be on advanced farming. So farming in the Hydrocraft mod. Now we have some clay in our inventory. We can right click on either the lighter or the clay, and we can choose to make a flower pot. So we're going to make one flower pot, and we have not burned ourselves. That's excellent. So we now have a flower pot in our inventory, and we will go into using the flower pot later on. But one more thing I should mention are the other things that you can build when you have a kiln on you. You can make bricks, red or grey bricks, and they are used to build more advanced buildings such as the smelter or the blast furnace, and they are used to refine iron and ores. We'll use those when we have our mine. We don't have a mine yet. I'm just going to eat some food. Excellent. So now that our character has a clay pot, the other things that you can build are, as I said, the bricks. You can build a clay jar, and the jar is used for the herbalist table, which we use for preparing herbs and flowers that we find during foraging. We're going to get to that in our next tutorial. We can make a clay mug, which is basically just a cup, in case if we don't have a mug on us. We can make a teapot, which will hold water. Very useful. I always make a few of those because they act the same as a regular teapot and can be made easily to store water. A clay cauldron, which we use in some of our more advanced crafting recipes, such as making glue. A clay urn, which I'm not sure what the use of the urn is yet. I haven't used it yet. A clay pipe, which apparently we can use to make smoke some recreational substances. The most useful thing, which is the ingot mold, which will allow us to make ingots to smelt metals down when we have our smelter. A nail mold, which will allow us to make nails. Very useful. We'll be able to smelt iron down into metal nails, which we are running low on nails. a screw mold so we can make metal screws, a gear mold so we can make gears, I believe they're used in electronics, a giant magnet mold which will allow us to make a magnet. The magnet is used in a junkyard, so we're going to build a junkyard eventually, but not until after we have a mine going. The anvil mold, which is very useful, we use that to make a metal anvil, which we will then be able to hammer out our ore into various items, such as the swords, axes, various weapons. We can make a metal axe, a metal sword. Again, you need a mine and also a blast furnace to do that. Or at the very least a smelter. Bullet casings, which we definitely are going to want, given we've got the Ortmanns guns mod, and we can make some bullets. And finally, buckshot, which will allow us to make some shotgun shells. They're all things that you can make using the kiln. Just be aware that you will have the chance of burning yourself every time you use the kiln. Always make sure you have some clean bandages on you and some first aid items such as a bottle of disinfectant in case you get wounded. And as always carry some water in case you do set yourself on fire. It hasn't happened to me, but some people have reported it does happen. So hopefully you found this tutorial useful and it's given you an idea of how to use the kiln. The kiln is very useful because it allows you to make many container items for water and allows you to make the containers that you need for advanced farming. And at the moment, this clay flower pot, we're going to plant our apple into this clay flower pot, and we're going to make an apple tree. So we're going to go into advanced farming. In our next episode, I think though we're going to do some weapons crafting, because I really think that's something that's very important that a lot of people need to know, and it allows you to very early in the game make yourself some pretty powerful deterrents for zombies. The Hydrocraft mod adds plenty of weapons, and where a lot of the ones that I've been using, people have been asking me about how I've used them and how I made them. We're going to go over that in our next episode. So stay tuned for episode 3. I'm going to go and sleep now, and we'll pick up in our next tutorial with weapons crafting. One of my favourite things. Skill Incarnate out.